All right, I can't see anything. Okay. I am live, and we are live. All right. So first off, if you are watching this on recording, fantastic. Welcome, 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 welcome. My wife loves when I do that. The sequence of 5 welcomes. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm currently opening up the group so I can let these people know that we are live. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to know if anybody can hear me, because I'm actually using a completely different microphone that you can see. So whoever hopped on just now, let me know if they can hear me, please. Let me know if you can hear me. We are live now. Hop in. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me at all, please. You know what? Again, this is the tried and true way to do it. I'm gonna try on my phone. See if I can hear myself on my phone. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Yes, I can hear myself. Fantastic. Yes. Okay, so that's great. So again, let's see if I can position this a little better. Welcome to the March 23rd edition of the question and answer session. So I'm going to get the questions I'm going to answer tonight loaded. So let me check on that. So the first thing I'll answer today for sure is how much money do I need to budget to launch this business? Okay, that's one. And then two, how much money can I reasonably make after a year? Reasonably make after 1 year in this business. Darren, welcome, bro. Big man's overseas. I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate you doing what you're doing. And tell me how things are going over there, man. Type in the chat. Let me know how things are going. I'm feeling a little bit across the pond in it. Man's real excited because he watched Top Boy. If you guys have heard of the show Top Boy, it was sort of a phenomenon come out of the UK in 2011. And then Netflix actually had Drake executive produced a new, like, sort of, I don't want to say spin-off, but a continuation of the series. And, it's just some British gangsters slinging drugs. But, it's a compelling show. It's really good. Really good. And every time I watch the show, I start talking a little bit like a British person, but I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. I'm not even going to try right now. Okay, so we're 4 minutes in. At the 5-minute mark, as always, I am going to start answering any questions. But of course, for whoever is here, including you, Darren, any questions that you have, definitely watch it, man. It's fantastic. But first, watch the one from 2011. If you have Netflix, it's Top Boy Summer House. And then, so watch that. And then go into the series, which is Top Boy. It's sort of a standalone, but it also feels way better if you watch the first thing first. So the Top Boy Summer House, which is the old one, and then Top Boy, just Top Boy, that's the newer one. And that's in this, just finished 2 seasons now. Okay, so 4 people on now. Whoever's here, feel free to say hi. Let us know where you're from, what you do, uh, and what's good. How's your day going? I hope you're happy to be here. Now, again, we're 5 minutes in now. Uh, for those of you that are new or watching it for the first time on repeat on the replay, just know that if you're here for the live call, I have a couple questions that I prepare to answer, but for those of you that are on live with me, I answer whatever questions that you have. So I prioritize answering the questions that come in while I'm here doing the live session. Okay. So the two questions that I've already planned to answer are: one, how much money do I need as a budget to launch this business, the virtual receptionist company? And then two, how much money can I reasonably make after 1 year in this business? Now, there's six of you on here now. Feel free to say hi. Let us know where you're from. Again, any questions you have, there are not any stupid questions at all. I've been doing these live sessions almost every single week for over 2 years now. And so I really haven't run across a question that I straight up couldn't answer yet. So, I put you guys up to the challenge. Try to ask me something that you don't think I'll be able to answer pertaining to the virtual receptionist business. And don't, the question can't be, what's it like to be a billionaire? Because I'm not a billionaire. Okay. But, other than some crazy stuff, hey, Sabina, good to see you in here. Awesome, awesome stuff. Any questions you got, Sabina? Feel free to ask. Also, we're going to be doing the tribe call starting in exactly 48 minutes. And so, if you're around for that, feel free to hop in that as well. But again, any questions you have here, feel free to ask. Sabina is one of our tribe members. She's a student. Very excited for her. She's in Canada, in the rural part of Canada. She's actually one of the people that are positively and significantly impacted by what's it called? Whatever the satellite net thing that Elon Musk launched, the satellite internet. So that's really cool. And that satellite internet is actually going to make it a lot easier for Sabina to run her business. This is a business that you can run from anywhere, but you do need to have a solid internet connection. So that's one of the one prerequisites. Website is being made. Fantastic. Finally, I know that's a heck of a sort of a milestone. So congrats on that. Oh, Starlinks, yeah, that's what it's called. Okay, so first question, which I'm going to start answering now: how much money do I need as a budget to launch this business? Um, okay, so it depends. To answer that question, right? It depends on how you want to do it, right? When it comes to anything in life, whether you're buying a car, whether you're buying a house, whether you're starting a business, whether you're buying a T-shirt, right? There's always going to be a range of costs that is going to be associated with, that item, that service, whatever it is, depending on what you're looking for. So when you're starting a business, I do think there's a point at which, for this business, it's absolutely unnecessary to spend more than a certain amount, especially if you're doing remote. I don't think it's necessary to spend more than, really. I mean, if you're absolutely insane, you probably shouldn't spend more than $150,000. That's just you spending $75,000 to build a website, and you're hiring operations manager that gets $60,000 a year day one, and all kinds of stuff. But let me. I'm falling off topic here. Um, Realistically, I'll say what it is. So for me, the day I launched my company, I was in for $500. Okay, when I launched day one, my expense, my total money in was $500, and that was the cost of the phone system that I was using, and then I built the website myself. Um, and the most money that I was ever in for, because my launch cost, like day one of launch, is different from the amount of money that I was in at the most, because payroll started kicking in. Um, because we day one we had two full-time U.S. based agents working for us, and they were full-time, and we weren't not going to have them be full-time because we needed them to take calls, right? We needed to have the coverage hours that we promised to our launch list. And then, of course, when we got clients that weren't on the launch list in general, we needed to be prepared like within an hour or two of them signing up to get them onboarded and ready to go. And so the most I was ever in for was $3,500. Okay, $3,500. Now, keep in mind that $3,500 led to millions of dollars in revenue. So, it was an incredible return. I didn't take any inside investment, and it did not go beyond the $3,500. That's the most we were ever in. After $3,500, we got to the point that, our revenue matched our expense, so we broke even. And then if we continued to land more clients, we didn't get too aggressive, whereas, we're pumping money back in the marketing and going more in the hole. Frankly, I couldn't afford to do that, right? And have all kinds of money, on top of the 3,500 that I could really commit. So it was nice that it worked out the way that it did. So $3,500 was how much I was in for. Now, keep in mind again, excuse me, I had US based people. And so we started off paying two people $10 an hour. And so full time, you're talking about $3,300 a month in payroll. And that's, not including the employee cost, say if they're in the US, you got, payroll taxes, and maybe some other associated expenses. You don't have to do benefits yet because you're below 50 employees. But, depending on the state you're in, you might have to do worker comp and that type of stuff. So if you hire overseas, you've got the phone system, you got payroll, you've got whatever your marketing cost, but you could still be in at the most like $2,000 or less. There's some students that have been able to pull that off, and it's really good. Okay. Barker Ford. Hey, Donald, hope everything is okay with you. Have a question on how your process looked after someone had filled in the free trial form. Okay, great question, Barker. Yeah, I'll answer that. So the process is simple. Someone submit the free trial form, and then they're immediately forwarded to another page that has the onboarding form. The onboarding form includes all the questions that you need to ask in order to be able to handle their call appropriately for the agent to do that. And so it's a sequence of questions mostly covering things like how do you want us to answer your call? Now, the easiest way to get access to an onboarding form is in my course. I provide a template. I provide one that you can download directly into your own Jotform account, which is what we use, Jotform. And so it makes it very easy. But as far as the process, they fill out the trial form, and then they fill out the onboarding form. And then immediately after that, we get to, like, when they're submitted, we get emails on our side saying, hey, the client has signed up and submitted these things. And so we take that information, we go into our phone system, and we configure the campaign for that new client based off of what was submitted in the onboarding form and trial form. If they submit the trial form, the way we did it, we always took the card information up front. We didn't charge them to the end of the trial, but we had the card info. So that went straight into Stripe, which is all good. We'll configure their accounts. So that means setting up a forwarding number for them, configuring all of the disposition, meaning the categories of calls that you're taking on behalf of the client, and then setting up the script, the instructions based off of what is submitted in the onboarding form. And again, once all those things are in there and set up, which actually, believe it or not, can be done in as little as a half an hour, then that client is ready to go. You give them the unique forwarding number that is specific and assigned only to their business. And then the call that they have coming into their main business line at this moment, they begin to forward those incoming calls directly into your call center via the unique phone number that you have provided to them. Once that has happened and the calls start coming in, they initiate forwarding, the trial period does. And so in our case, it was a 7-day calendar trial period, not business day, but calendar. So, we were, especially when we started Monday through Friday in terms of coverage. So they would get 5 days worth of coverage during the trial. If they started on a Wednesday today, next Wednesday is when their trial would have ended, and we would be charging them for the first month of service based off of their usage during trial. We select a plan that makes sense. Let's say they use like 75 minutes in that week. Well, we anticipate that 75 minutes is gonna be around that for the next 4 weeks. So that's 300 minutes total, and so we'll put them on a plan based off of 300 minutes and whatever that cost based off of your own pricing model. Of course, you need to make sure that your new client is okay with that price, and so at the end of the trial, we send a trial usage report and say, hey, this is what your usage was. This is what your projected minute usage will be based off of that usage. This is what the price will be for the plan that makes sense based off of the projected usage. And then, say, hey, okay, so $300 a month or whatever it is, does that work for you? And if they say yes, we have the card on file. So we charge them for that first month, and then we just continue taking the calls that we were already taking for the last week. So, Barker, I hope that fully answers your question. Okay. Man, my mouth is running, and I do not have any water. Hey, Manali, are you around?
Yes,
Is there any way you could grab me some water?
sure.
So my wife is gonna grab me some water. Very, very helpful. So yeah, Barker, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. The other question, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to type them in. Again, there really aren't any dumb questions in this business. It's not like there's all kinds of books and resources on this. So ask me whatever questions you guys have got. And by the way, I haven't used this mic in a very long time on this, so I hope it sounds good. Um, and the goal is to make this just a little bit better. Eventually, I'll rig my professional camera and just have that set up so you can get more pixels on my face than there already are on my face. I don't know if that's necessary, but it always look cool. So anyway, what else? So the other question I was already prepared to answer, since no one else is asking questions right now, is how much money can I reasonably make after 1 year in this business? And let me make sure the chat's still working. I'm gonna hop onto my phone really quickly. Let's see. Yep, I knew it was happening. It says my connection is unstable, but I'm sure it's not unstable. Where's the live? Yeah, so everything still looked good. Thank you. Uh, yeah, okay, everything's still working. So I'm just gonna continue to look at my phone just to know that this feed is still working. So again, let me know, Barker, if your question is sufficiently answered as well. And again, thank you for the water. Okay. Sabina asked a good question. Considering using white labeling, I'll answer what white labeling is in a second. But uh, how many clients should I white label at the max to have a smooth transition? So the answer to that is less based off of number of clients and more based off of the amount of revenue that you're bringing in. And so you could have like 2, 3 clients that are bringing you $10,000 a month between those clients. At $10,000 a month, you definitely have enough revenue to justify switching everything over. Because at that size, you can have 4 agents, and you're also able to pay for your phone system, and everything is at least paid for. Even if you have like Canadian agents or something, then everything's paid for, especially if we're talking USD for revenue. Um, so that's like the great thing. I would say the minimum, especially if you hire people overseas, for you to make a smooth transition and not like start off in the red or anything, it's probably around 45. No, actually, the minimum is, let's say you get two overseas agents that you're paying on average like $6 an hour. $6 an hour works out to roughly $1,000 a month. So that's $2,000 between the two agents, and then your phone system should be, let's say, around 600, depending on which one you're using. It could be like 400, and then your other cost, let's say, it's another $300. So somewhere between 2,700 to $3,000 a month. At $3,000, effective, let's say $3,500, just to be safe. It'll be comfortable. And so the revenue is the metric to think about, not the number of clients, right? Because we have had some students, Sabina, like for instance, Maurice, who his first client was over $3,000 a month. So, it just depends on the revenue. Now, let me quickly explain white labeling in general. So, white labeling is the process of utilizing a different company to fulfill the services that your company is offering to your client. So, if Sabina, for instance, she gets her website together, she launches her company, and she starts landing clients, right? Those clients are going to pay her, based off of her own pricing. So, say she's charging, $500 a month for 300 minutes of usage a month. What she can do is land that client, charge the $500, and instead of having agents that she's employing and having a phone system that she herself is paying for, she just uses a different company's systems and services in the background that her client wouldn't know about. And that's what white labeling is. It's like a fulfillment partner, a manufacturer in the background that does the work, while you just collect the revenue, and then you make whatever the difference is in your cost versus how much you're charging. So if those 300 minutes, that Sabina is charging her client and she's charging $500 for, if the white label partner charges her 250, then she will presumably have a gross profit of $250 monthly on that deal. Okay, and that's not an unheard of or unreasonable, calculation at all. Um, so, some people that don't want to spend up front for the agents and such, it brings your upfront cost down a lot. When people ask, hey, how much can I get? Like Beards, you ask, what the estimated cost I should be spending on a call center. So I covered it in one way, like if you're hiring your own agents, which is what I did. But if you do white label, you can be launched for a few $100s, right? And then your ongoing cost can be next to nothing because you're not paying any payroll yourself, and you're not paying for the phone system and those other things, right? You're just using your white label partner. And the nice thing about white labeling too is that if you don't have clients that are using minutes, there's not like a minimum that you have to pay the white label partner. If you're not using their agent, then they're not charging you. So you can have a pretty much $0 monthly cost until you land clients, and then after you land clients, you start paying a portion of whatever you're charging to the white labeler. So it's a great way to get things going again. And then again, once you get to a certain point of revenue, I do recommend that you then go and hire an agent and then get everybody switched over. You don't want to wait too long, and this is when number of clients goes into play, because if you have more than, say, like 15 clients, it can be sort of difficult to set up and configure all of those accounts on a phone system that you haven't been dealing with, and essentially you haven't been operating and fulfilling yourself. So going from zero, getting yourself to like 15 clients and, let's say, $5,000 a month in revenue, right? And being in a situation where the clients are being served and there's a certain standard of service that those clients are used to, right? You don't want to come in really not having any experience in the fulfillment side and then, try to handle 50 clients. Don't want to do that. Around 10 to 15, pretty easy. It's not that bad. But like 50 is it's going to be a disaster unless you have somebody coming in to consult you or you've run a call center before. So keep that in mind. And I hope that answers your question, Sabina. Beardew, again, I sort of answered that question earlier, what the estimated cost. I answered it before in terms of if you hire people, and I'll give you that number again. I would say somewhere around, you know, if you hire people around $3,000 to $5,000. Day one of launch is probably 1,000 or less, but you should still budget $3,000 to $5,000 in terms of payroll cost while you're ramping your business up. And then, of course, if you're someone that's considering my course, you got to also consider the price of my course as well. So this is just for other people. Beardew is actually my brother-in-law, so he's not considering the course. um, yeah, okay, so that's awesome, Sabina. She wants to do it so she has time to learn the 5 9 phone system. Totally fine. Yeah, I think it's a great way to get things going, get your feet wet without being like, going on hard mode in terms of building this business. um, yeah, so yeah, no problem. Hope that helps you three. And yeah, any other questions you guys have, ask away. The other question I was prepared to answer before was how much money can I reasonably make after 1 year in this business? Now, for those of you that got the email I sent earlier to the email subscriber list, I said that I would answer this question based off of what different students in the call center cash program have achieved. So I don't want to do this based off of, um, speculation. Okay. Now, I will say though, in my first year, in our first year, because I had a partner in my first year, I bought him out after almost a year and a half. Um, in our first year, when we completed the year, okay, I honestly don't know how much profit we had. I literally could not tell you. But at the end of the year, we were at roughly $16,000 to $17,000 a month in revenue. Okay. And remember, we launched on January 1st. So when we finished the year, it was truly one full fiscal year. Okay. So we went from zero to $17,000 a month. I think it was actually $16,500 in revenue that we did in December of 2015. Um, and so, we had about 50 clients at that point, a little bit over 50. I knew that we had hit that goal of 50 clients. Sabina, yeah, make sure you use Stripe. I would have them set you up with a jot form, and just have them embed the jot form on your website. Sabina asked, the credit card app would be Stripe, so that the guy who is doing my website set me up with that. Yeah. So have the person embed jot form onto your website. Um, that's pretty easy, and it'll also make it so that it'll be easy for you to make edits later. Um, and that's that. But again, continuing on, we were at 17 or 16.5 in revenue, monthly revenue and growing in December of 2015. So again, I don't know how much revenue we did, but at that point, our monthly growth profit on 16.5. I know we had 4 agents at that point. It was actually probably around 4 to 5 grand per month. So it was sort of solid. It might have, yeah, it was a solid 5 grand per month. So after 1 year, we were at the point where if you own the business yourself and you're not like spending a whole bunch of profit for reinvesting for growth, which at that point we didn't have to do because we had inbound leads propelling our growth at that point from the content marketing we did, which for us was free. And so at that point, you could pretty much say that we had, the start of a full time income for a lot of people at 5 grand a month in profit. Um, some of our students have been able to do that plus more, right? We've had actually, if you just look at the interviews of all of the people that are on the channel, all of the interviews were conducted on students that had not passed a year yet. I think there was one on Paul Joseph who he might have been in his 13th month or something. Um, he probably in his 13th month, but at that point they were doing $50,000 a month in revenue. Hey, Mikhail and Sarah, welcome. Good to see you again. Glad you're hopping on. So he was doing $50,000 a year, sorry, a month in revenue at that point. After like 13 months, but I also know that in his 12th month he definitely did that. Mikhail says he I wanted a complicated question, so yeah, let's see what it is. Now the profit on $50,000 a month, the way he's running it, um, I'm gonna say it's got to be at least $15,000. No, maybe it's like 12. So it's at least $12,000 a month in profit. So that's good. That's a full time income for the majority of people. That's after a year. Somebody in the middle, there were like 4 or 5 people that I know of. I did a few interviews on a few people. Andy and Maurice were at least $20,000 a month in revenue after 12 months. And at 20,000, I know Andy had replaced his income. Um, so he had quit his job and replaced his income at that point. So he literally had a new full time income. So I guess the real answer to this question is it's going to be based off of a lot of factors. But the reality is that for most people, if you do what you're supposed to do, nothing crazy, right? These guys were not spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars crazy money. They didn't know anything about call centers before getting into this. They didn't know like anything. The questions they were asking were the very simplest questions when they were first getting started. And they went from that to sounding all sophisticated in a year. And again, being in a scenario where they have full time income. So it's possible, it's doable. And that's all I'll say about that. All right, what's your complicated question, Mikhail? I've got about 7 or 8 more minutes here. And anyone else that's here, feel free to say hi. Oh yeah, and Sabina, yeah, Andy is a fellow Canadian. So is Paul. Paul's also a fellow Canadian. You Canadians, I'm telling you, you're killing it. You're killing it, killing it, killing it. I'm very. I have a lot of anxiety about this question. Could be. So yeah, there's 9 of you here. Feel free to say hi. Tell us where you're from if you haven't said hi before. Oh, didn't realize my puppy's down here. See if you guys want to meet him. Lucky, say hi. Yeah. So this is Lucky. He's a good dog. A lot of people are like, oh, this is my little rascal. No, he's not a rascal. He's a good dog. He took some time to get potty trained, but now he's trained and now he's all good. So Lucky, have a good one. Uh, what is yeah, the gangster dog? What is this question, Mikhail? What's going on here? And anyone else, again, there's 9 people on here that I can see. Feel free to ask whatever questions you got. Okay, so a question is, please describe an agent work point of view. How it look to take calls and work for multiple clients from the agent point of view. It's pretty simple, actually. Essentially what happens is that in most call centers, agents are taking calls uh, for like a large client. And so the company is the same, but the callers are different. But the sequence of steps that the agents go through is one of just a few different scenarios based off of the type of call that comes in, right? And so, on one hand, it seems simple because the script that they're looking at over and over again is essentially the same. But on the other hand, every caller is different. They have different desires, different problems, different issues, different personalities, different temperaments, right? Some people are nice, some people are mean, some people are patient, some people are impatient. And so, being in a call center in general, an agent had to deal with a variety of different personalities. And another large aspect of their experience on the job is based off of the number of calls that they typically take in a day and the type of call center position that they're in, whether it's customer service, whether it's like telemarketing, whether it's like bill collecting, whether it is outbound or telemarketing, whether it's a virtual receptionist like answering company. In our industry, the virtual receptionist niche, it's incredibly easy for agents. It doesn't get any easier, at least from a mental health standpoint or a psychological standpoint, and what causes agent turnover standpoint. We have the lowest turnover in this industry versus other types of call centers in the large call center industry. And let me tell you why. Um, Even though it might seem complicated that you're taking calls for different clients and potentially different industries with different instructions and stuff. Um one in our companies, the way that we run them based off of what I teach in the course, there is a limit to the number of companies that you can take calls for. And so what we do is we group agents as you go in the groups of like 5 to 6 agents. And so those groups of 5 to 6 agents will handle calls for around 50 to 80 clients. And so, if you're smart, then you have 50 clients in a group and you make sure it's not 50 different industries. Maybe it can be like 15 to 20 different industries. But the reality is this: we're not doing hardcore customer service. So we're not like, doing technical troubleshooting, for somebody like remote control for the TV, right? Or some crazy stuff like that. We're not doing like incredibly complex conversations. We're doing the same sort of somewhat narrow set of service fulfillment for any call, for any caller in any industry. And so, even though an agent over the course of the day is taking, let's say, between 40 on the lower end, once you're starting to ramp up to about 100, maybe 110 on the absolute craziest days. And usually that means the day was easy because the length of the calls was a lot shorter. What happens is that because the individual calls don't go too in depth, it's sort of like you are a receptionist at an office. So think about a receptionist that works from home, by the way, but they're like at some white collar office, like a dentist office or whatever, and they're just taking calls over the course of the day. That's what it feels like working for a company, except instead of one office, it's sort of like a bunch of different offices. But the function are narrow. We're either taking messages or we're transferring the call, or we're answering very simple questions that are available on like frequently asked question form. At most, and this isn't for all clients, we might be booking an appointment. Booking an appointment is what's your name, first, last name, what's your phone number, what's your email, and what is your inquiry, right? If there's some type of inquiry. And then you just type it in and you submit it. And so, again, because the conversations are not complex, there is a variety, and that variety ends up being a plus. And the plus is that I tell people when I interview them, I used to, that there's never a dull moment in the job. You get to, learn at a surface level about different types of companies and different industries. You're sort of having your brain context switch in the different industries and sort of the jargon, and it actually ends up being pretty fun. In some cases, if you bring too much on an agent too fast, maybe the first few weeks can be pretty tough. But any agent that doesn't have things sprung on them too fast and is around for a few months is comfortable. they're usually not stressed out unless the call center thing's just not for them in general. And again, because of that, turnover is very low. Again, we had a lot of agents working for us, and we only ever had 3 agents that ever quit ever. So keep that in mind. Okay, hope that answers your question, Mikhail. Mukupa Chanda asked, do we need to use WordPress for the website or can we just use Square Shopify? You can use Square Shopify, you can use whatever you want. We've got a student that's using like ClickFunnels. The only thing that matters is that, it had the pages that describe and offer the service appropriately. So usually that means a home page, maybe an about page, something describing the services, something that describes the pricing, and a sign up page. That's it, and then maybe a blog. And so whatever platform you're using, if it has those functions and those different pages, then it doesn't matter what the thing is. It just matters that it had that functionality as far as from a website. So I use WordPress. You don't have to. So all right. So I can really only stick around for about 3 more minutes. So any other questions you guys might have, feel free to ask and ask them quickly. Thank goodness for this water. I just did a podcast episode that ended about 12 minutes before I hopped on this call, and so I've been talking, and then right after this, we're doing the tribe call for paid students. I feel like Mikhail, you're going to be joining up with us soon, so make sure you do that. Um, but yeah, a lot of talking today, and yeah, adds up fast. Any other questions, though? Come on now, we got about 3 more minutes. And I want to help while I still can. And if not, again, you can always just hit me up directly or come back next week at the right time. Or you can just comment, and I tend to answer questions in the comments as well. Once this stream ends. So do let me know if there's anything else. Again, I would play music here, but YouTube will shut my account down. Maybe I could hum something. No, I'm done humming. Nope. Huge bonus points for anyone that has any idea what I just hummed in that little snippet. Or anyone that's watching this recording and made it this far. Whoever knows what I hummed in that little snippet, there'll be some type of I don't know, incentive for it. I don't know what it is yet. All right, so about 1 more minute or so, then I gotta start prepping for this next call. So any other questions you guys got, feel free to ask. Or I'm not gonna say forever hold your peace, but for the next week, hold your peace. And again, Mikhail and Sarah, I hope that answers your question. I really want someone to figure that out. There was a beatboxer. That's a huge giveaway. Whoever watches this recording, there'll be a nice incentive if they get that right. Okay, so it is now 7:20 my time, and I gotta hop off. But I'm gonna give you guys like 20 more seconds. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. Some great question. As soon as I hop off here, this will be made into an available recording. So if you came in late, you can go ahead and watch it from the beginning. Also, again, I have plenty of videos on this channel at this point. I'm going to be adding a few more. The videos that are coming soon are what are the difference between starting a regular business versus doing something like the Rise platform, which a lot of people ask me about. And then also, I'm going to do a video on what were the 5 biggest mistakes I think I made in terms of starting this business or working on this business. So stay tuned for those videos to drop on this channel in the next few weeks. And I appreciate you guys. Hopefully things should be a bit more consistent because I also just hired a long term, really sticking with these people, sort of a team of VAs. So I'm excited about that as well. They just started on Monday, so we'll be a lot more consistent in terms of email updates and those types of things. So make sure you're on the email list. Other than that, again, see you guys next week. Really appreciate you guys being here as always, and have a good one. Ayub, man, you're saying hey right as I'm hopping off. But any question, feel free to ask in a comment, and I'll make sure I answer. Have a good one.